Guillotina is a truly horrifying creature that may instill all kinds of fear in you and your cats.
Oh no!
But have no fear,
Because I am here!
and if you are afraid of any spoilers regarding Guillotina and the side quests she provides you with, such as beating her multiple times and unlocking the Throbbing domain, well then here's your chance to back out. Because I, Sir Salty, want to guide you to victory to help you beat Guillotina not once, but all 3 times and do her quest perfectly.
Okay.
To not only unlock the Throbbing domain and some new classes, but yeah, I guess it is just those. So, with no more bullshit, let's just get right into it. So, first and foremost, to get Guillotina to start invading your house, you'll have to beat Act 1 in its entirety, which means beating the boss in the Boneyard and beating the boss in the Caverns. I will hopefully have boss guides in the description, so go and check that out. After beating both of those, you will unlock Act 2. You will not have to do anything in Act 2 in order to spawn Guillotina, but eventually you'll get a cutscene and this will be waiting for you. Pretty damn ominous. Each time you see this, you'll have exactly 7 days to prepare. It is definitely recommended to use your retired cats, as they will stand the best chance against her, since you might have some broken strategies like spawning a ton of leeches with the necromancer, maybe having a cool magic missile build, and more or less you just want to collect a bunch of items in some runs beforehand. And if you're feeling up to it, you will breed the best potential cats you can, and I'm sure there's guides that you have been following since the very beginning of this game's release. Will I have a guide? I don't know, maybe. I recommend at least doing 2 runs in that 7-day period at least. That way you'll have some competent cats, as well as a whole bunch of items. The first Guillotina fight is very straightforward, so we'll do a very simple and straightforward build. So we can run with 2 hunters, 1 cleric, and a tank, for what is essentially going to be a tank and spank strategy. I would also highly recommend getting any food item or any pills just for this occasion. So with that, baloney socks fatties are ready to go, leaving Guillotina with a message of even God still loves you. So starting off, Guillotina has a very simple pattern. She will generally trample through most of your cats while taking swings at the closest target or throwing them. If you have any CC, I highly recommend it, like traps, sleep darts, whatever, as her pathing will be pretty predictable, though it will suck when your tank is thrown into a corner. By far the worst thing that Guillotina actually does is to swallow anything behind, beside, and in front of her. Now this is where you might be a little concerned, but she will eventually spit at the target. At first I thought damage was to play the role in this, which it does later on.
Okay.
The main reason I decided to use 2 hunters in this case was the fact that both of them had summons. This is so when your tank is out of position, these big tomcats can act as a makeshift tank. Much like all summons in the game, they're pretty overpowered. Once Guillotina gets to half, she will enrage, gaining back 50 of her health. But you'll notice that her expression has changed a bit. Guillotina will just get a couple new tricks, like a melee attack that will knock you back across the entire battlefield, and her second ability seems to just cover pretty much everywhere. I noticed even after a few of her turns that she actually wasn't spitting out a cat, so I was thinking that maybe damage had something to do with it. So I basically just surrounded her and just did as much damage as I possibly could, eventually spitting out my hunter and killing my summon in the process. But with all these summons and consistent damage, Guillotina is finally vanquished, giving us the Throbbing Gristle quest item, which I will be talking about later, so feel free to skip ahead, as I will not hold it against you. Now, completely giving it away in the intro, Guillotina does come back for a second round, and definitely has a much more terrifying cutscene than the last, as now the head and the body have its own sentience apparently. And well, another cat is gonna bite the dust, unfortunately. So after a few more runs, she will attempt to invade you yet again. We are adopting yet another similar strategy to the first one. This time, instead of having a second hunter, we're going with a fighter. Hulk Up was a strange passive for the fighter, as taking damage increases your speed, so I thought it'd be pretty invaluable. Hunter was nothing special, but had the mark ability, which helps everyone else out. A fairly offensive cleric that had Stimulant Plus, which is a huge buff, along with a tank that had Belly Flop, and a pretty beefy and charming tank. Alright, so let's get into it. The Divine Cat Colors are ready for action.
Nice.
So the main difference here is that there are 2 targets, one of which is Guillotina's head, and then you have the body. The head does a simple pattern. He does Gasp, which kind of clumps your guys together in a line, and then does his weird, crazy tongue attack. What? I find that the head is often the most dangerous, so it should be focused first. Having the fighter close the distance, marking him with the hunter, and since mark will last 5 turns, hopefully the head will be dead in that time. The head also has the ability to toss one of your cats, and it will always toss the cat at the body. Now the body isn't as dangerous because it only has 1 turn, where the head will have 3. This is why I opt to kill the head first. The body's main attack is a body slam and has a high chance to stun. Will also do a bruise and displace pretty hard. With my tank the one being thrown at the body, he kind of distracted him the entire time while the other 3 did work. And Cleric can finish off with open wounds. Whatever one you kill first will give a turn to the other one, and the other one will enrage, gaining 100 health as well. Since this was the body, that it just gains 1 extra turn, where the head would actually have 4 turns in a single round. So the main thing once you have the body enraged is that you kind of want to have your cats spread out a little bit. So they're not getting trampled through, you want to attack from all sides so you can at least attack the back. Pretty much standard stuff. Eventually we'll start raining down garbage, which kind of just gets in the way of your movement, but it's not too much of a threat. Guillotina will pretty much take care of that anyways when she starts trampling through your cats. And that's also why we bring ranged. And we happen to finish it off with all these random needle shots. Really like the idea of having a needle shot build. Just like with the original Guillotina, your cats will be super retired and you'll get a new quest item, the Putrid Leech. Now, if you think you were done with Tina, well, you weren't, because I also spoiled that in the very beginning. In a haunting fashion, she comes back for yet a 3rd battle.
Oh no!
By this point, hopefully you will have done some Act 2, specifically the Crater, as this will unlock the Druid class, which is insanely strong. I was jacking up those summons earlier, well, this is the summon class. We also have access to a bunch of new items, such as this eye accessory that makes everyone else faster and the tank a little bit slower. I also opted for a Thief that had some amazing synergies with backstabbing and nail flurry, also would get a free first turn, and this really amazing Shadow Friend accessory. Also ran with a Cleric just for good measure, so the thick team was prepared for Guillotina 3. Similar to the second fight, you'll have a head as well as a body. The head really doesn't do too much. Attacking it will knock it back 1 tile, as well as letting out a shriek that lets the body run to it for a short distance. The main goal here is playing keep away. You do not want to let the body breach the head, as that's what it will try to do for the most part of the fight, so focus all your attention on doing bursts to the body as much as you can. I was really loving the Shadow Friend here because it was always able to line up some sweet backstab combos with my Thief. The Druid's Crow was super invaluable to this, as not only doing consistent damage, but having Aeroblast Plus to keep the body from ever getting close to the head. I also had this sweet Caterpillar build. Caterpillars gain all stats up at the end of their turn, and at 5 stacks eventually turn into moths. So aside from shrieking, the head will actually do a prison tumor attack similar to what you see at the maggots in the boneyard. And that's pretty much all the head does. Upon reaching half health, the boss will go into phase 2, cutting its own health in half to summon a mama maggot, with a new attack to spawn maggots throughout the fight, adding more chaos. So this is where summons are really going to shine. You'll have more bodies to take damage, as well as more stuff to deal with the minions that are spawning. This is where I had some great synergy with my Cleric. Having Morale Boost gives all stats up to everything, which includes those caterpillars that need the all stats to evolve. Also having massive regen for everybody. I definitely felt like I over-prepared for this, as I saw a streamer friend of mine fight this and lose horribly, because this was an absolute cakewalk. So I decided to go for a finishing boosted backstab nail flurry combo, which absolutely decimated Mama Maggot. Yeah, that was absolutely disgusting. Did a similar thing to finish off the head as well, and it was even had a bruise to increase the damage even further. And because the head gets knocked back, getting it into a corner absolutely devastated it. Sometimes the Thief can really pop off given the right skills. And there you have it, Guillotina 3, easily dealt with, earning you Guillotina's head as well as Guillotina is now being played on the radio. So you skipped ahead to the quest section, just like I knew you would. Let's get into it though. The Throbbing Gristle. You'll have to bring this to the caves and beat the final boss there.
Okay.
You can use the Gristle as a weapon to deal 6 damage and turn anything you kill into meat. But unfortunately, any down cat will die immediately and explode, which happened to me on my second fight. But we're used to this game and we can overcome what the game tries to throw at us. But as you can see, I opted for a very strong strat, which is the tank healer, while also throwing a newer class in, the Butcher. We did find a new stray along the way, and they do give a Neverstone. I didn't do this in the run, but you can actually equip the new cat with a Neverstone so that they'll never evolve, and it'll make your other cats much better as you'll level more and more throughout the run. And often I find with the strays is that they'll pick up the soul of the class that has fallen, which led to this really goofy run where I made a whole bunch of Roombas and stuff, and they just made a whole mess of picking up coins. They also soaked up a ton of damage, but generally just try to play it safe. I used the Gristle throughout the entire run, so I was spawning plenty of meat for my tank if you needed it. After the boss, you'll have the option to place the Throbbing Gristle into the barrier there. Step 1 is done. Next is the Putrid Leech. Having to take it to the Boneyard, the cat will never level up, will die when downed, and you have lifesteal on all your attacks. Pairing this with the Necromancer was absolutely perfect. Had some summons on a Tinkerer, strong heavy shot hunter build that I couldn't miss with due to the third eye, Bullseye was just a bonus, and messed around with the Monk for a bit. The Leech Brood was absolutely pivotal in this, starting every fight by cutting your health in half and applying Leech to everything, coupled with Carrion Shot, lifesteal on the basic attack, and spawning flowers for extra health regen and mana. Basically made that level 1 Necromancer completely unkillable. Everything else would just decimate the battlefield. Hunter would take care of most problems with heavy shot, gave everyone sleep darts at the start of combat as well for extra CC, and since I was running with the Monk, I got to dabble with some of its abilities, such as Spirit Bomb.
If you can't beat him, bomb him.
Which I definitely should not have gotten away with, because I even almost sacrificed both my Hunter and Tinkerer to do a really big Spirit Bomb. I would donate rounds and rounds of energy just to finish it off in one attack. I mean, as long as the Necromancer was safe, that's all that really mattered, right? Turns out it was pretty good against the boss of the Boneyard. Recharge it before I would take the cat down to 1 HP. We're ready to go for my cat to injure him, and immediately begin to start channeling another one. All it took was one person to donate, and I would throw a Spirit Bomb and it would take care of it because it is a big AoE, so it can't dodge it whatsoever.
Wow.
Now that we've flourished in the Boneyard, we can then go attach the leech to this artery. Doing so will now unlock the Throbbing Domain, which is a whole new area in Act 1. Now be forewarned, you want to leave this immediately.
Why?
An altar demanding one of your cats to be sacrificed shows up. Doing this now will unlock nothing. You'll need to come back wearing Guillotina's face in order to unlock the next part. For this third and final part, we will be using Guillotina's head, where all battles are hard. Enemies will prefer to attack this cat over any of the others. Anything that attacks you has a chance to be feared, and you can also inflict fear with your basic attack. Highly recommend using a cat that has a lot of health, like a Necromancer or a tank, and a Druid Cleric Hunter combo. This is where I came up with the idea for the Hamburger Time Druid build.
Hamburger time. Perfect.
All my controllable familiars had the great ability of self-destructing. This led to some pretty nasty combos, because eventually I could summon 5 squirrels on one turn, leading to some pretty freaking amazing turns of these deadly baby squirrels just running in, attacking, and then blowing up and leaving fire everywhere, knocking things around. It was just chaotic, fun. It was just great. Highly recommend Druid in any run. Got insane when it got the teamwork passive, making any familiar when they killed a unit, it would increase everyone's damage, making the Druid heal better. Everyone was just in top form basically. It was a fantastic run. Now that we get to the Throbbing Domain yet again, we unfortunately have a really bad decision to make, which will be sacrificing Twilight Sparkles. Now, she wasn't anything special, but it needs to be done. If you want to skip this cutscene, I don't blame you. I know I can't watch it again. Twilight Sparkles deserve so much better. First things first, you won't have to do that again. But if you're continuing through the domain on this run, you will be down 1 cat. And this can be quite an annoying area to fight in. Lots of enemies with multi-hitting attacks, spawning more enemies, and gaining massive health regen. I was lucky enough to find Stinky Pete in one of the random events down here. It was nice to get right before the boss. And well, here's a little bit of a quick, simple overview of the Throbbing King. He has a very simple pattern to follow. He will throw a goop at one target, dealing damage and webbing them, forcing you to deal with an entangle effect on that person's turn, wasting their basic attack. Moving constantly drags like a puddle around, so when he goes to new squares, he will make a new puddle. Next, he throws up a whole bunch of different pickups, mostly a ton of variety of meat, sometimes poop, sometimes metal. Guy has quite the diet. Still, having a good amount of summons did make this boss a little easier than it should have been. But this is where I learned of his Simon Says ability. At the end of a turn, he will give a command. Anything in the white exclamation marks is bad. He will do a crazy attack that just does unreal damage, and it's completely unblockable, all of which will be a little bit different each time, such as the go away, making sure you're at the corners of the map. There's kneel, which will make you go close, ones where you're forced to spread out. Lowering his HP to 0 will trigger phase 2, which he explodes, dealing 1 damage and knocking everything back into the wall. I lost many good squirrels in that transition. The king will get 3 turns, doing this blood laser attack on each of them, so avoid lining up for him. Also has this annoying tendency to move immediately after being hit. Having units spread out or having just a bunch of range is very helpful here. Blood Laser doesn't do a ton of damage, but it will add up if you are stacked. Hopefully you get it in the first try, just like I did. Beating the Throbbing King will unlock class-specific hats. Obviously, the first time through, you will unlock them and actually get them into your inventory. These hats have very strong abilities, usually placated to the class themselves, like Healer healing more, or Hunters gaining more with the Familiar, stuff of that nature. Before you head home, you have one more chance for loot. Now here is a big fucking warning. I'm not sure if this is based on luck or just like a flip of the coin, but this can kill your cat. But it can also award some of the best items. This is what happened to me my first time. Yeah, it's pretty gruesome. You can literally lose a cat at the end of your run. I will say you do get some pretty insanely good items if you are successful. And there you have it. Guillotina guide with a little bit of the Throbbing domain. I mean, it was the entirety of the domain. Oh, either way, I hope you appreciate my guide. There will be some more stuff to come. Phrasing. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.